The moment Emily unfolded the fragile photo album on the dining table, her hands trembling slightly, the room fell silent. Her grandchildren, who had gathered reluctantly, unsure why they had been summoned on a Sunday afternoon, stared at the yellowed pages. Each photograph was a portal to a life they had never truly known. There were Emily and her late husband, Thomas, smiling in the garden during a summer they had only heard about in passing, and images of Emily standing proudly at the opening of her first school in town. But it was the photograph of a little girl, a child with Emily's unmistakable eyes, hugging a much older woman in a hospital corridor, that caught everyone's breath. "Grandma,
Who is she?"
asked Sarah, the oldest of the grandchildren, her voice barely above a whisper. Emily's eyes glistened, and for a moment, she looked like the young woman in those photographs, bright, hopeful, unafraid.
"That,"
she said softly,
"is your mother's cousin, Lily. I haven't spoken about her for years. Don't just watch, join the movement.
Subscribe now and turn on notifications to never miss a story that could open hearts and inspire real change. Also tell us from where you are watching this story." The room shifted. Nobody knew there were so many layers to Emily's past, secrets tucked between the lines of everyday life, hidden in moments that seemed ordinary until now. "You mean, Mom knew her?" asked Michael, leaning forward, curiosity finally overcoming his hesitation. "Yes," Emily said, "but there was a rift. Families sometimes drift apart, and sometimes pride and misunderstandings grow louder than the love that once held us together." She paused, swallowing hard. "Lily was the one who helped me through the hardest time of my life. After your grandfather passed away when I thought I would never smile again." The grandchildren exchanged glances. They had always known their grandmother as strong, unwavering, and selfless, but they hadn't realized the depth of her trials. "I kept this album," Emily continued, "not because I wanted to hold on to the past for myself, but because I hoped one day you would understand what family really means. The love, the mistakes, and the forgiveness." For a moment, nobody spoke. The photographs, each slightly faded and curling at the edges, told stories words never could. They saw birthdays celebrated quietly, tears shed in secret, and moments of joy that had been tucked away from the world. Slowly, Michael reached out, brushing his fingers over a picture of a young Emily laughing with Thomas in front of their first home. "I never knew Grandma had been through all of this," he said softly, his voice cracking with emotion. "I mean, we always knew she loved us, but I guess we didn't know how much she had given up for us to be here today." Emily smiled, a gentle, bittersweet smile. "And that's the thing, Michael. Life is never just the easy moments. It's the hard ones, too. It's the heartbreak, the misunderstandings, and the quiet sacrifices that often shape who we are and who we become." Sarah picked up another photograph, one of Emily holding a baby in her arms, a cousin she had barely known, and traced the edges with her finger.
"Grandma,
"We should have asked more questions when we had the chance. We should have listened better to your stories." Emily shook her head. "It's not about blame, dear. It's about remembering, about understanding, and about knowing that love doesn't always come perfectly packaged." For the first time in years, the grandchildren felt connected to the grandmother they had admired, but never fully understood. The room, once quiet and heavy with unspoken tension, now vibrated with a sense of revelation, that the past, when shared openly, could bring healing, not regret. Emily carefully turned the pages to reveal a photograph of herself and Lily at a small cafe, coffee cups between them, smiles tentative but genuine. "This was the day we made amends," she said. "We realized that holding on to pride and anger only steals joy from our hearts. Forgiveness doesn't erase pain, but it allows love to return." The oldest grandchild, Sarah, reached over and took Emily's hand. "Grandma, thank you for sharing this with us. I think we finally understand you and why our family is so strong." "Because you made it strong," Michael nodded, his eyes misting over. "And maybe it's time we reach out to the cousins we've lost touch with. Time is too short to wait for perfect moments." Emily's heart swelled. She had kept this album hidden for decades, unsure if anyone would ever truly care about these old, fading photographs. But now, seeing her grandchildren's faces light up with comprehension and compassion, she realized the album had done more than preserve memories. It had built bridges across generations. "That's all I ever wanted," she said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "To show you that family isn't just about living under the same roof. It's about love, understanding, and holding on to each other even when life makes mistakes easy to make." The grandchildren lingered around the table, flipping slowly through the album, asking questions, sharing laughter and tears. The photographs had sparked stories, memories, and a newfound closeness. And for Emily, that moment, the quiet Sunday afternoon when a forgotten photo album had changed everything, felt like the culmination of a lifetime of love, patience, and quiet hope. By the time the sun dipped low, casting golden light across the room, Emily sat back, feeling lighter than she had in years. She realized the stories she had carried in silence were no longer hers alone. They were theirs, her grandchildren's, her family's, a legacy of love she could finally pass on. And in that moment, surrounded by the people she loved most, she understood something profound. The past, when remembered with kindness and shared with honesty, has the power to heal, unite, and inspire the future.